Hadavar asher haya al Yirmiyahu al kol am Yehuda. This is the prophecy that Yirmiyahu had about all the nation of Yehuda. B'shana Revi'it, in the fourth year, Yakim ben Yoshio melech Bavel, of Yoakim, the son of Yoshio, the king of Bavel. Hi Hashana Rishonai. This is the first year, Nebuchadnezzar melech Bavel, for Nebuchadnezzar, the king of Bavel. So we see here Yirmiyahu Perek. We're now in the fourth year of Yoakim. We remember Yoakim was the king who became the king of Yehuda after Yoshio was killed, and after Yoshio's first son, Yoachaz, was killed. So Yoakim becomes king. And this is the fourth year. We've already had the trial of Yirmiyahu. We've already had Yirmiyahu give other prophecies where he introduced for the very first time that the Babylonians are going to be the ones who are going to enslave the Jews. But now, for the very first time, we have the actual king who's going to be responsible. This is the first year of Nebuchadnezzar, Melech Bavel. Asher diber Yirmiyahu al kol am Yehuda. Yirmiyahu spoke about the nation of Yehuda, Vel kol yoshvei Yerushalayim lemor, and all the inhabitants of Yerushalayim. And this prophecy is going to summarize a lot of what we've done until now, although it's going to introduce a couple of very important new concepts we haven't seen before. Min shlosh esrei shana liYoshio ben Amon melech Yehuda ve'ad hayom hazeh. So he says here, and we'll get our little pencil out. He says here that from the 13th year of Yoshio ben Amon melech Yehuda, from the 13th year of Yoshio until today, the shalosh ve'esrim shana, for these 23 years. So he's been Yirmiyahu already a prophet for 23 years. He was a prophet for 19 years of Yoshio. He started in the 13th year of Yoshio for 19 years, and then Yoshio was tragically killed. And now at the fourth year of Yoakim, Haya devar Hashem elai. I had a prophecy all this time. Vadaber alechem, and I spoke to you. Ashkeim v'daber, I would get up and I would speak. V'lo shematem, and you didn't listen. And we see here the lashon of Ashkeim v'daber is actually in the present tense, or in the future tense. I get up and I speak, I get up and I speak. The implication is that Yirmiyahu is saying, I spoke to you again, and I spoke to you again, I spoke to you again. For 23 years I've already been a prophet, Yirmiyahu says, and you never listened to me. V'shalach Hashem aleichem et kol avadav v'nivim. And don't think that I'm the only prophet. God sent many prophets, many prophets. Hashkem v'shaloach. And once again, just like Ashkem v'daber that we had before, which meant I get up and I speak, I get up and I speak. He got up and he sent. In other words, God sent prophet after prophet after prophet. And once again, v'lo shematem, you didn't listen. Bnei Israel are very consistent in the fact that they don't listen to the people who are trying to help them. You didn't use your ears, you didn't hearken with your ears to hear. Lay more, what were they saying? Shuvu na ish midarcha ra'ah. And we've seen this before. This is exactly the formula Yirmiyahu has given over and over again. You should do tshuva, return. Yirmiyahu said this. The other prophet that said that, return from your wicked ways, darcha ra'ah, umiram aleichem, and from your wicked deeds, ushuvu al vishovu al adama asher natan Hashem lachem lavatechem lemina olam v'yad olam. And God says a very interesting formula. If you do tshuva from your wicked ways and from your evil deeds, then you will live. Shovu here from lashon yashav, not from. It sounds like teshuvah, but means to live. You will dwell on this land, namely Israel, Yehuda, Judea, that God has given you and your forefathers forever and ever. If you do tshuva, if you do what's right, you will live in Judea forever. Ve'al telchu acharei Elohim machirim. Do not follow false gods. Love them to serve them. Hishtachavot lahem, to bow down to them. Ve'lo tachisu oti b'maseh yadechem. Don't make me angry by the work of your hands, namely that you will fashion gods and idols out of your hands. V'lo ara lachem, and then I will not do bad to you. It's a very simple formula. If you don't follow idols, you don't bow down to idols, if you don't anger me with your idols, then I won't do evil to you. But, as we know, as Yirmiyahu has said, v'lo shematem elai, you didn't listen. This is the theme here. We have this 3 times already. V'lo shematem, v'lo shematem, v'lo shematem. That's the milah mincha, that's the leading word here. Nu'um Hashem, God says. L'man hachisuni, another leading word. You made me angry. You wanted to make me angry. Maseh yedechem, with the work of your hand. L'ra lachem, to be bad for you. In other words, God said, if you don't make me angry with the work of your hand, namely making graven images, then I won't do evil to you. But you did make me angry with the work of your hand, therefore I am forced to do evil to you. Lachein ko amar Hashem tzvakot. Therefore Hashem, the God of hosts, said, Yan. This is the formula we always have when Yirmiyahu is directly quoting a prophecy directly from Hashem. La Yan asher lo shematem et divarai. Because you didn't hearken to my words. You never listened to the prophet. You didn't listen to me. You didn't listen to the other prophets again and again. Now he gets very specific, and this is the most specific we have gotten. Remember, he's mentioned Babylonia as the enemy, but now he's actually going to mention even the name of the person who is going to exile the Jewish people. Hinini sholeach v'lakakti et kol mishpachot tzafon num Hashem. I will take all the families of the north, and I will send Nebuchadnezzar melech Bavel Abdi. Nebuchadnezzar, the king of Bavel, will be my servant. So Nebuchadnezzar, even though he's not a worshiper, he's God's servant. Why? Because he's doing God's bidding. And what will all the families of the north and Nebuchadnezzar do? They will be put on this land, namely Israel, and on all the inhabitants, namely the Jews, and all the nations around Israel, and they will destroy them. It will become empty and desolate, l'charvot olam, and destruction forever. So in other words, Israel will become a chorva, will become a destroyed place, and who will be the one who will do this? We see directly, Nebuchadnezzar, Melech Bavel, Nebuchadnezzar, the king of Bavel. So now we have the name of the enemy, and this was the first year of Nebuchadnezzar. You can imagine how upset the aristocracy of the Jewish people are, that Yirmiyahu is naming the enemy. It's someone they know, and he's saying, this one will destroy you. Vavati mehem. And what will happen? I will make destroyed from you, I'll make loss from you. Kol sason v'kol simcha, kol chatam v'kol kala. There will no longer be sounds of singing and rejoicing. There will no longer be sounds of chatan and kala, of groom and bride. There won't be this. You might remember this from what we say at the wedding, and we're going to talk about that later, the prophecy of Yirmiyahu, that once again there will be a chol chatan and kol kala. But at this point he's saying there won't be the sound of the chatan and the kala, of the groom and the bride in Israel. It will become destroyed. Kol rechaim, there won't be the sound of the millstone, v'or aner, and there won't be the light of the candle. And what does this represent? So we see it represents a lot of things. Kol sason v'kol simcha, kol chatam v'kol kala represent there won't be any more family life in Israel. There won't be any more celebrations. There won't be any more weddings. There won't be any more rejoicing. Kol rechaim, the millstone that was used to grind the wheat. And the millstone would always operate 24 hours a day, 6 days a week, except on Shabbat. And the reason was because was their main economy, to provide for wheat, to provide for grain, the breadbasket of Israel. So the fact that there's no longer a millstone means that there will no longer be an economy in Judea, and there'll no longer be or aner, the light of the candle, representing the fact that there'll no longer be inhabitants. So Israel will be desolate. There won't be rejoicing. There won't be any economic activity. You won't be able to see any settlements with lights. There'll be nothing. This whole land will be destroyed and desolate. Bavel is going to come in and they're going to make Judea desolate. It's not even going to be that they're going to put other people here. There's going to be no one. And these nations will serve Bavel, Israel and all those around them, Shivim Shana, 70 years. And this is very important. You're going to learn next year in Ezra about the 70 years, and Yirmiyahu is going to talk about it twice. The 70 years is a very, very important number, because he says that we are going to serve Nebuchadnezzar and Bavel for 70 years. When the 70 years are up, Efkod al Melech Bavel, Valagoyahu, then the king of Bavel and the nation, namely the Babylonians, they'll get payback against them. Nu Hashem et avonam val eret katim. I will pay back for their sins. I'll pay back against the Kastim. Those are the Babylonians, the Chaldeans, v'samtimoto lishmimot olam. And they will become destroyed forever. In other words, the Babylonians are only going to rise for 70 years. And after 70 years, they will be gone. And this is very important. Note the 70 years are from the beginning of the Babylonian Empire to the end of the Babylonian Empire. It was an empire that did a lot, but only in a very short span of time. And this is the prediction Yirmiyahu is making here. We're going to have to revisit this many times in the future, and you'll revisit it next year when you're in Ezra. When did the 70 years start, and when did the 7 years end? But it clearly seemed to end with the end of Bavel, the Babylonian Empire. Va'aveti al artahi vet kol divrei divarai asher dibarti aleh. And this land, namely the Babylonian land, namely Babylonia, the land of the Chaldeans, I will put on this land everything that I'm speaking now. At kol hakatuv b'sefer hazeh, asher niba Yirmiyahu al kol hagoyim, everything in this book. So they'll get the same exact payback because of what they did to us, destroying our land and destroying all joy from our land and destroying all economic activity from our land and making our land desolate and empty. So the Babylonians will become desolate and empty. They'll be gone too. Ki abdu bam gam hema goyim rabim. They will also now be exiled to other nations, umalachim gedolim, in greater kingdoms. Vishilanti lahem kipolam. I will pay them back for what they have done, u'kamaseh yedem, for all the work of their hands. And once again, we talked about the maseh yedem earlier, that we made graven images. So now it ends with that they will be paid back for their work. And I don't think that they're going to get it good. They're going to be the ones. Even though he's my servant, he's only my servant to destroy the Jewish people, but ultimately he's going to get payback for what he did against us.